The British royal family, with its long-standing traditions and immense power, has long been a symbol of stability and strength. However, even such an icon is not immune to turmoil, and currently the royal family is facing an unprecedented internal crisis in its history. This story has not only caused a stir within royal circles, but has also sent shockwaves through global public opinion, as a single statement from King Charles III has left everyone pausing to reflect. Give it back. I want my ring back. A seemingly simple phrase, but it marked the beginning of a chain of events that has rocked both the palace and the global public. This demand from King Charles sparked a wave of outrage, not only because it came from a king, but also due to the implications behind it, exposing cracks in his relationship with Camilla. The love story between Charles and Camilla has long been a complex saga, fraught with challenges and turbulence. It seemed as though their love had overcome every obstacle. But now, internal issues within the royal family have come to light, forcing everyone to reassess. Their relationship has been tested through controversial interviews, surprising decisions, and choices that have left the public questioning Camilla's role within the monarchy. The royal family appears to stand at a critical crossroads as secrets behind palace doors are gradually revealed. Will delving deeper into these rifts lead to the collapse of what has been built over decades? A major question looms. Will King Charles's words mark the end of Camilla's role in the royal family? And will the British monarchy, with its steadfast symbols of power, continue in its current form, or will it face irreversible changes? These events are leading us on a journey to explore the inner workings of the royal family, where love, power, and betrayal intertwine, creating a complex picture that is not easily deciphered. Join us as we uncover the stories behind palace doors, where secrets never before revealed are slowly coming to light. A tale full of surprises and drama, promising to keep you captivated. The love journey of Charles and Camilla. The love story between King Charles III and Camilla is not an ordinary romance, but a journey filled with ups and downs, challenges, and hardships. It began in the 1970s when the two first met at a social event, and their relationship faced significant obstacles from the start. Camilla, though from an aristocratic family, was not the royal family's choice to be the wife of Prince Charles. The monarchy's strict rules and societal pressures forced their love to remain hidden, pushed out of the public eye. In the eyes of the public at the time, Camilla was not the ideal choice for a prince searching for a wife who met royal standards. While Charles pursued other relationships, including his marriage to Princess Diana, his love for Camilla continued to smolder in his heart. However, when Charles married Diana in 1981, Camilla was not just a faint shadow in their lives. She became the most controversial figure in this royal marriage. The public relentlessly criticized Camilla, labeling her the third person and blaming her for the breakdown of Diana and Charles's marriage. The relationship between Camilla and Charles turned into an international scandal, and Camilla, despite her love for Charles, was forced to live in the shadows, enduring public vilification. During those years, Camilla became the target of harsh criticism and faced relentless judgment. She remained silent, avoided the media, and tried to live the life of an ordinary woman in a society that constantly scrutinized her. Despite this, the love between Charles and Camilla never faded. Even after Charles and Diana divorced in 1996 and Diana's tragic death in 1997, their relationship began to emerge more openly. Though it still faced significant public opposition, from then on, Charles and Camilla faced numerous challenges to gain acceptance. In 2000, after more than 30 years of hidden love and scandal, they finally married. Their wedding was a turning point, not only in their lives but also a significant milestone in royal history. However, the marriage was not immediately embraced by the public. Camilla, though legally Charles's partner, still faced criticism and mixed reactions from the public and media. Over time, however, Camilla gradually gained acceptance. After their 2005 wedding, she began participating in official royal duties and was recognized as an integral part of the British royal family. Though some public opposition persisted, Camilla became a key figure in the monarchy's official activities, particularly during significant national events. Her husband, Charles, acknowledged her not only as his wife but as a lifelong partner who shared every challenge. A pivotal moment formalized their love, the engagement ring given to Camilla by the Queen Mother, a symbol of acceptance and legitimization of their love. This ring was not just a valuable item, but a powerful message to the public that Charles and Camilla's love had been recognized, overcoming the decades of difficulties they had faced. This engagement ring also symbolized victory after decades of struggle. It represented not only their genuine love, but also their triumph over societal prejudices, public rejection, and the challenges faced by the royal family. Their relationship became a testament to the power of love in overcoming adversity, no matter how harsh the trials. However, despite their long and arduous journey, Charles and Camilla's love now faces new challenges. Recent events within the royal family raise questions about whether their relationship will remain resilient or face further tests. What once seemed insurmountable has become reality. But will their future in the royal family continue smoothly, or will they encounter insurmountable obstacles? From a forbidden love to a legitimate marriage, Charles and Camilla's relationship was once a symbol of love conquering all challenges. However, with the current turmoil, their love story continues to spark controversy and prompts reflection on their future, and the future of the British monarchy itself. The first cracks. Camilla steps into the spotlight. Following the historic coronation in May 2023, the atmosphere within the British royal family seemed poised to become more stable and robust than ever. King Charles III finally ascended the throne after decades of waiting, with Camilla, now Queen Consort, by his side, the woman he had fought to be with. But at that seemingly fulfilled moment, the first cracks began to appear, quietly at first, but increasingly evident. The coronation marked a turning point for Camilla. No longer the woman standing in the background, she began to step forward with confidence and authority, something few could have imagined before. During the grand ceremony at Westminster Abbey, as Camilla ascended with her crown and royal robe, the public witnessed a transformed version of her, no longer reserved or cautious. Her confident smile, sharp gaze, and assured demeanor signaled that Camilla was no longer Charles's shadow. She had officially become a central figure. And after the ceremony, Camilla did not stop. She began delivering longer speeches at events, tasks typically reserved for the king. These speeches were not mere pleasantries, but carried political, social, and even ambitious undertones. Camilla also proactively engaged with the press, sometimes offering unfiltered comments that bypassed the royal communications team, raising concerns among palace insiders. This transformation was not only evident in her words, but also in her public appearances. Her wardrobe became bolder and more authoritative, tailored suits, deep tones, and a blend of classic and modern styles reminiscent of powerful women like Margaret Thatcher or even Queen Elizabeth II in her early reign. From her gait and demeanor to her position beside Charles at events, Camilla was no longer an aide but a leader. She was not just present, she aimed to shape power. Initially, King Charles seemed to support this change. In an interview, he expressed pride in Camilla and admiration for her resilience. But over time, signs of unease emerged. A palace insider recounted that during a private meeting with close advisors, Charles sighed and remarked, "I thought Camilla would help me uphold my role, not take it over." He said this was no impulsive comment. It was a sign of a rift when trust and collaboration began to turn into competition and control. This anxiety was not confined to the king's mind. Royal advisors began noting a shift in the power dynamics within the palace. A longtime advisor at Clarence House, the couple's primary residence before Charles's ascension, shared that Camilla is crafting her own narrative, one that leaves no room for obscurity. She started building her own communications team, forging strategic relationships with newspapers, and selecting events that aligned with her personal messaging, independent of the royal family's broader strategy. To the public, Camilla's independence was sometimes admirable. After decades as the third person, she emerged as a resilient figure, unafraid to assert herself. Some media outlets even dubbed her a new breath in a monarchy needing change. But within the royal family, this independence was not merely a personality trait. It was a potential threat to the fragile stability of the monarchy. Charles, who had sacrificed much to be with Camilla, now seemed to feel an old fear resurfacing, that the love he had cherished for half his life might now threaten the throne he had only just claimed. Behind-the-scenes debates grew more heated. Camilla sought a more active role in political engagements, while Charles, though outwardly calm, showed increasing caution. Some advisors even suggested he was being pushed into a passive role in his own reign. The story was no longer just about love. Between Charles and Camilla, a subtle power struggle emerged over influence, control, and who would truly shape the image of the British monarchy in the 21st century. And from here, a question began to form. As Camilla stepped into the spotlight, was it the moment darkness began to fall over the throne? The shocking interview. Camilla breaks the rules. As public debate swirled over Camilla's increasingly prominent role, an unexpected event pushed palace tensions to a breaking point. Without palace approval or consultation with King Charles, Camilla unilaterally conducted an exclusive interview with a veteran British journalist known for challenging royal figures. The interview took place in an intimate yet deliberate setting, a cozy drawing room in an old manor, with soft lighting and meticulously arranged teacups. Everything exuded simplicity and approachability, a stark contrast to the regal, tightly controlled image typically associated with the royal family. In this setting, Camilla began to reveal things never before spoken. Her voice was steady. Camilla displayed remarkable composure as she discussed life as queen consort. She spoke of the invisible but persistent pressure of succeeding a national icon, but when Queen Elizabeth II, admitting, "Some days I wake up wondering if I'm living someone else's dream, a dream I was never given the chance to choose." Camilla did not shy away from addressing Princess Diana's lingering shadow, a figure still deeply cherished by the public nearly 3 decades after her death. She shared her feelings of being compared, mocked, and even isolated within the very system she served. Most shockingly, Camilla openly discussed mental health, a topic still considered taboo within the royal family. "Isolation can kill you bit by bit," she said. "Sometimes I've had to find my own light in a place with no windows." However, the most controversial part came when Camilla addressed the need to modernize the monarchy, stating, "We can't keep speaking to the world in the language of the last century. If the royal family doesn't adapt, the people will choose to walk away." Many interpreted this as a veiled criticism of Charles, who has remained loyal to the traditional approach instilled in him since childhood. When the interview aired, the reaction was almost immediate. According to sources at Buckingham Palace, King Charles was furious and speechless with shock. He had not been informed of the interview beforehand. Worse, the royal communications team was entirely sidelined. A media storm erupted, not only over Camilla's words, but also over her unilateral breach of the rules that had kept the monarchy stable for centuries. The palace plunged into crisis mode. Within 24 hours, a flurry of statements from royal representatives attempted to calm the public and mitigate the damage. Strategically leaked stories appeared in the press, suggesting that the king and queen consort remained aligned in their views. But observers knew better. This was not a mere PR mishap. It was a manifestation of a power rift at the highest level within the royal family. Public reactions were sharply divided. A significant portion rallied behind Camilla, calling her a voice of truth in a world stifled by tradition. To them, she had dared to say what many thought: the monarchy must evolve to survive. Younger audiences, in particular, saw her as an unexpected model of candor and initiative, a fresh breeze amid stale protocols. Yet, many others fiercely criticized Camilla. They accused her of playing a power game, deliberately crafting an image in opposition to Charles to manipulate public opinion. They saw not sincerity, but a calculated strategy to redefine her position, perhaps even preparing for a soft power transition within the palace. Some branded her a traitor, not to the public, but to the man who had brought her to the heart of the monarchy. The interview achieved much. It made Camilla more relatable to some. But it also turned simmering royal tensions into a public issue, and crucially forced people to view King Charles III with skepticism. Was he losing control of his own reign? A small crack can be ignored, but when it makes a sound, it signals that what is breaking can no longer be hidden. The ring and the final divide. Among the hundreds of precious jewels owned by the British royal family, one ring seems unremarkable in aesthetic terms, not as dazzling as the Koh-i-Noor diamond or as iconic as Queen Elizabeth's crown, but carries profound emotional weight, enough to shake the kingdom with a single related remark. This is the engagement ring Charles gave Camilla in 2005, once belonging to the Queen Mother, a symbol of their love's acceptance after years of scandal, struggle, and tears. The ring was more than a gift. It encapsulated years of enduring public criticism, symbolized perseverance against societal prejudice, and marked a historic moment when a once taboo love was legitimized through royal marriage. When Charles gave Camilla that ring, he was not just saying, "I love you." He was declaring to the world, "I choose this woman, despite all judgment." But fate has its own way of unfolding. On an unannounced evening at Clarence's house, their haven after their wedding, a heated argument erupted. No one but the two of them knows exactly what was said, but a close source revealed the chilling words that stunned many. "Give it back. I want my ring back." A seemingly simple statement, but in truth, it was the final blow to a love story once celebrated as defying fate. For Charles, the demand was not just a heat-of-the-moment reaction. It was his way of reclaiming control, asserting that this relationship, once his, had become a threat to the reign he was striving to maintain. Demanding the ring back was a rejection of the entire legacy of love they had built. It was a declaration. "We've gone too far. This is the end." According to a close aide, Camilla said nothing in response. She held the ring in her hand and quietly left the room where Charles stood, not angry, not crying, just enveloped in heavy silence between two people who had once been everything to each other. In the days that followed, the ring remained on her ring finger, not as a sign of commitment, but as a final act of defiance, as if to say she would decide when their love truly ended. But, as all anger eventually subsides, Camilla realized the game was over. One Monday morning, during a charity event, observers noticed her left hand was bare. The ring, once her pride, had vanished. No explanation, no official statement. But the silence rang like a death knell for a marriage many believed was unbreakable. As with all secrets in the royal family, the story quickly leaked to the press. "Give it back. I want my ring back," became the headline dominating British media. Royal experts jumped in, analyzing, debating, and speculating about unrevealed details. Some suggested it was a fleeting moment of royal anger, a temporary pause in a turbulent marriage. But most believed the act of demanding the ring was a wordless declaration of separation. The public image fallout was inevitable. For Charles, many viewed his actions as cold, believing the man who vowed to overcome all obstacles for his love was the first to retreat when the situation turned unfavorable. Others sympathized, arguing it was his way of protecting the throne and the monarchy's values from a woman growing increasingly independent and unpredictable. For Camilla, her image, carefully rebuilt as a composed, supportive figure, was now tainted with labels like arrogant, defiant, and even presumptuous toward the institution. Returning the ring may have preserved some dignity, but it also ended the symbolic power she once held. The ring, though small, carried the weight of an entire emotional dynasty. When it was removed, it was not just a breakup. It was a declaration that a love story that once captivated the world had officially come to an end. Camilla's expulsion and public reaction. After weeks of simmering tension, the silence between Charles and Camilla finally shattered with a decisive and ruthless decision. No more veiled hints or subtle actions. The king formally requested that Camilla leave the royal residences, once considered their shared home for nearly 2 decades. This was not a quiet departure. It was not a discreet backstage arrangement. It was a public, unmistakable, and cold message. Camilla would no longer be part of Charles's daily life at Buckingham Palace or Clarence's house. She was relocated to a separate estate in Wiltshire, southwest England, described by the press as far from any center of power. The palace, as usual, tried to control the narrative, framing it as a temporary separation to allow both parties space to reflect and heal. But no one bought it. The public was no longer naive, and the media even less so. The name Camilla Parker Bowles once again dominated headlines, but this time, not as the smiling queen consort, but as a woman cast out from the fortress of the British royal family. Tabloids, thriving on palace shocks, dubbed this the royal crisis of the century, drawing parallels to the infamous divorce of Charles and Diana. Many outlets even compared the event to that tragedy, when Diana was isolated and later died in a still-questioned accident. Headlines like "History Repeats," "Camilla, Diana 2.0," and even "The Curse of the Crown" flooded outlets, from The Sun to Daily Mail, from BBC morning shows to late-night talk shows. On social media, an unprecedented wave of discussion erupted. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram overflowed with analysis videos, conspiracy theories, and even calls to save Camilla. Some expressed deep sympathy, seeing her as the latest victim of a rigid royal institution that demands absolute subservience and personal sacrifice to a brutal degree. They emphasized that Camilla, despite past mistakes, had genuinely tried to integrate, serve, and fulfill her role as queen consort. However, harsh opinions abounded. A segment of the public, especially those loyal to Princess Diana's memory, believed this was Camilla's just desserts. They argued she had overstepped her role, aiming to wield power equal to Charles, and her arrogance had backfired. Many posts claimed Camilla was never truly loved by the public, and her expulsion was the inevitable consequence of a strategy that went too far, too fast. Amid these polarized reactions, one thing became clear. The British royal family's stable image was under serious threat. Divorces, scandals, and internal conflicts were not new. But this time, the events unfolded at a moment when the monarchy was struggling to maintain support in a modern world where younger generations question, do we still need a king or queen? As Charles tried to manage the situation from behind Buckingham Palace's ancient walls, public trust, once shaken, was not easily regained. This soft expulsion, though wrapped in sophisticated PR, left a glaring question in the public's mind. If the royal family cannot maintain internal unity, how can they represent national unity? Camilla's counterattack and an uncertain future. Amid the noisy public outcry and mounting pressure from within the royal family, Camilla, once seen as standing in Charles's shadow, stepped forward with a clear and strategic counterattack. She issued an official statement, brief but loaded with subtext. In it, Camilla reaffirmed her commitment to her role as queen consort, continuing to serve the public and charitable organizations. But the emphasis lay in a distinct detail. Camilla declared herself an independent voice within the royal family, stating that loyalty does not mean silence. This was no longer the voice of a compliant wife. It was the manifesto of a chess player, calculating long-term moves. Though she had left the palace, Camilla did not retreat from public life. On the contrary, she intensified her public appearances, particularly at events focused on education, women's protection, and mental health, causes she had long championed. Notably, Camilla began appearing alongside new figures, international ambassadors, NGO leaders, and even prominent media personalities. Observers called this the soft alliance Camilla was building, beyond the palace's direct influence. With unyielding resolve, Camilla was described as playing a long game. She avoided direct confrontation with Charles or attacks on the royal family. Instead, she quietly asserted her own position, as if to say, if the monarchy exists in the public's heart, she is an indispensable part of it, whether inside the palace or not. In contrast, Charles appeared more uncertain than ever. After the rapid succession of events, from the controversial interview to the ring demand, public opinion began questioning whether the king was letting emotions cloud his leadership. These doubts eroded the reliable king image Charles had cultivated Since Queen Elizabeth II's death, the current situation raises a host of pressing questions. Can Charles and Camilla reconcile? Or is this the start of an irreversible unraveling? Can the royal family weather this storm of division and continue to symbolize national unity? And for Camilla specifically, the woman once labeled the third person, then the queen consort beside a king, now fighting to preserve her own identity. Will she fade quietly, becoming a forgotten figure in royal history? Or will Camilla emerge as a symbol of change, a woman who dared to break the rules to forge a new, independent, and courageous royal archetype? On the surface, the story of Charles and Camilla may seem like a tragic romance between two people with a tumultuous history, but dig deeper, and it is a vivid testament to the fragility of the British monarchy in the modern era, where tradition and personal emotions clash fiercely under the spotlight and behind the scenes of palace politics. The ring, once a sacred gift of love, a symbol of Camilla's triumph over public scorn, prejudice, and history, has now become the punctuation mark on a chapter of royal romance. When Charles said, "Give it back. I want my ring back," it was not just about reclaiming a piece of jewelry. It was a bitter declaration of control, honor, and who truly holds power in this marriage. Camilla, from the woman shunned by an entire nation to the queen consort standing beside Charles at his coronation, now faces another fateful crossroads. Will she continue to assert herself as a royal woman who dares to live authentically and speak out? Or will she be consumed by the tides of time, leaving behind a controversial legacy, not for her mistakes, but for her courage at the wrong moment? And you, the audience watching this saga unfold from beyond the palace gates, what do you think? What future awaits Camilla? Can the British royal family mend its image and overcome this subtle but dangerous crisis? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because in this story, no one is an outsider. If you find this a captivating glimpse into the royal family, follow our channel to stay updated on the next hidden corners behind Buckingham Palace's ancient walls. And a final question for you. The British royal family has always been a mirror reflecting the era. But when that mirror cracks, what remains?